Wheelchair Bodybuilding Incorporated. He's a professional speaker, an IFBB professional bodybuilding champion. He's a professional wheelchair ballroom dancer. He's a two-time world powerlifting champion, a published author. His new movie, Perspective, is the overall best film winner in the 2011 Arnold Sports Film Festival. He's competed and guest posed in over 70 bodybuilding shows around the world. The global promoter of wheelchair bodybuilding, he's the co-founder and owner of wheelchairbodybuilding.com. He's a certified fitness trainer and a specialist in performance nutrition. Pay attention to the screen here. We're going to start off with a video. Give up the love for Nick Scott.
Who am I? It's like you see me do ballroom dancing, and you see me do a little bit of wheelchair bodybuilding, but who am I? And I do that stuff, and I guest pose all over the world, and I'm actually a professional speaker. A lot of people think I do motivational speaking, but the reality is, motivation don't last if you don't know how to actually keep self-motivated. So what I do, I'm a professional speaker, and a lot of people tell you, just do it, The question is, it's like, how? I mean, anybody can say, just do it, stay motivated, follow your dreams. But you don't know how to do it if you actually don't have direction. And that's what I do. Because going from A to Z is a process, but there's a big question mark. Well, I found the secret to that question mark. And instead of just telling you guys to just do it, I'm going to show you my life. And I'm going to tell you, I know how to give you guys a blueprint. If you follow the same path that I did, you'll succeed, because it's very simple. And I actually show you one of those secrets today. So who am I? Back in August of '98, I was in an accident. My left front tire blew out, and I rolled my vehicle 5.5 times. And I was ejected. My own car hit me in the back. I was 16 at the time, and the doctors diagnosed me as paraplegic. They told me I would never walk again, and my football days were over. I was devastated. I got depressed. I asked the Lord, why me? Why did this happen to me? But I never got my answer. So I got depressed. My weight went up to 300 pounds. I felt like a freak. I felt like I'd be better off if I died in the accident. So I hit rock bottom. And even when talking to others in a wheelchair, I went to this one girl, and she was depressed too because, she didn't think guys would like her because she was in a wheelchair. And she told me this analogy. She said, did you know Barbie's best friend's in a wheelchair? I'm like, no. They're like in the doll world. She's, yeah, it's wheelchair Becky. She's like, why date wheelchair Becky when you can have a Barbie? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, why date wheelchair Nick when you can have a kid? And and it's like I was going crazy because I was like, I didn't have anything. But I realized something snapped. Instead of focusing on the negative things in my life, I focused on the one thing I had, and that was powerlifting. I couldn't do a lot, but I had bench press. So instead of focusing on all the negative and what I couldn't do, I focused on the positive things in my life. And that's exactly, it's a mindset. So how do you go from, hitting rock bottom to being one of the best wheelchair bodybuilders in the world? To changing your mindset. How do you do that? What is the secret to going from that to being the second best wheelchair bodybuilder in the world? That was the show I just competed in October 13th. I was this close from being the guy. And that's okay. Because I don't want to just win by a little bit. I want to dominate him. And that's okay. Because that's how I roll. So anyway, how do you go from that to being the global promoter? Putting on wheelchair bodybuilding camp at the Shriners Hospital. This is 2008. I'm an ambassador. I've been working with the Shriners since 2000, which they brought me in and they gave me hope. So how do you go that? Being media all over the world, to working with the #1 magazine, Time magazine. And just recently, last Monday, the article that they did on me hit the front page of yahoo.com. And a lot of people say, how did this all happen? Time magazine actually came to me. It was March of 2011. They wanted to do the story on my life, but I asked them, after doing a 3-hour interview, if they'd be willing to do the story on wheelchair bodybuilding instead. So they did, and it hit her all around the world. And a lot of people don't know that a lot of people didn't believe that a professional sport with people with disabilities could happen. If you think about it, wheelchair basketball, you hear of the Paralympics, but it's not a professional sport. It took me 5.5 years. And I made wheelchair bodybuilding into a professional sport. It's the only sport in the world for people with disabilities that you can actually win prize money, that you can be ranked. And I made him the same rank that Arnold Schwarzenegger. And as you can see on bodybuilding.com, if you look at the bottom, they posted it. And then you got over 10,000 likes, almost 2,900 shares, as well as almost 1,500 comments. It was heard around the world, my work. So going from that, how do you become a fitness model? What's the mindset? What do you have to achieve? What is it? To going from that, to being a fitness model. I get paid for this, guys. I got a hard job. So say, how do you go from that to actually being contracted as a new genie for the new lens slot machine all over the world? That's right. So being ballroom dancing, how did this all happen? It's basically you take one thing and it leads to another, because I met my dance partner when I worked at the Arnold Sports Festival with the #1 sponsor of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we became the #1 couple in America. I live in Kansas, she lives in New Jersey. To make things happen, it's no excuse. I have to fly to Philadelphia to take ballroom lessons with her every 4 to 6 weeks to be the best couple, to beat all the couples in America, and be the #1 in America. We traveled around the world at the Paralympics, where we competed against the world, working with Dancing with the Stars with a fundraiser, to being a published author. How to become that? To meet this guy. How? How do you do that? There's my book, and there's the movie that won Arnold Schwarzenegger's film festival. Arnold added his film festival to the sports festival back in 2000 of March. And my movie beat companies all around the world, and I own, and I have the first ever Crystal Arnie. So how do you go from that? To meeting him, to putting on a training DVD, to being the leader of wheelchair bodybuilding all the world, to let guys come to you to lead. And a true leader is if somebody's willing to follow you because they want to, not because they have to. To getting guys where people don't believe. You see yourself But they said it would be physically impossible. But the key is, if you find what you truly love to do, you'll have passion. And a lot of people dread their works. They work a 9 to 5. But in reality, if you find what you love to do, it's not work. Because I work till 1 o'clock in the morning sometime, and I'll go to bed, then. And I'll wake up at 4:30 because I want to. I get so excited. Because it's like, what's next? So if you can match what you love to do to match your passion, it won't be a job for you. But so many people are scared. Because in school, we're taught to be different. To not be different. To blend in because we'll be made fun of. But the reality is, if you stick with what you believe and don't care and dare to be different, you'll achieve anything in the world. Because just like when the doctor said it would be physically impossible, and success is not about a destination, success is a journey. And it's about going the distance. Because it took me over 6.5 years to finally get a little sensation that I walked across my college graduation to get my diploma. I believe in God. And in reality, when I hit rock bottom, I was on my knees. And God gave me the life to get up and do His work. God bless. Yeah! God roll, baby. And I'm demonstrating it like this. So if you guys want to pretty much it, I'll sign it for you guys. That's what I do. Thanks, guys.
I don't think I have to encourage you to share the love for Nick, okay? I think you just did that. What an amazing presentation. Wonderful presentation. He's an extraordinary speaker. I know you've enjoyed that immensely. Think about how you can use a program like Nick on your campus with disability, diversity, all different ways that you can bring a speaker like him on your campus. Really a